Good evening, boys and ghouls.
Ooh. Ooh.
Welcome to Kino Therapy.
Halloween mini episode. Ooh, spooky.
This is a mini episode. Sorry I couldn't have been on the podcast last week.
That's
It's
okay.
alright.
We have the king of horror movies on tonight, which is good.
And a special guest.
And a special guest. Let's introduce you all to Peter.
Thank you. It's very much an honor to be returning to the Kino Therapy podcast for tonight's recording.
Yes, he used to be a regular on a previous podcast that we had, which we're not going to
No longer exists.
Yeah, it's
Our-
lost media.
R.I.P. OG KT. Or sorry, KT.
And tonight we are going to be talking about the Variety Top 100 Greatest Horror Films list.
Question mark.
Love it. Question mark.
All right.
Yes. Variety release the
Their
horror
top
list.
100 best horror movies of all time. Now, it's written in conjunction with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of their staff writers. So this isn't like a like it's probably from their own opinion, all put together in sort of like a list of like what they have put together as like the great, or what they were able to piece together like their favorites and stuff like that. Anyway, I don't know how the compiling came together, but yeah. So what I'm gonna do, very briefly, I will go through it from 1 to 100, and I'm going to just briefly mention it, and then afterwards we'll give our thoughts.
Yes.
We'll give our thoughts on the specific films, what was included, what we think were the odd decisions, the interesting choices, the weird placements, as well as the omissions, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about some omissions as well. So,
Oh, yeah.
and we'll talk about some films that we think should be on it. So, does that sound fun?
Yes.
Very fun. Let's go.
Very much
Yes,
so.
this is something that I think wouldn't have made like a full podcast. So hopefully you'll be getting a nice 40-50 minute thing. So,
And just to give him credit, this was Matt's idea from start to finish.
I know. Sorry, Alex. I'm taking away your podcast from
That's
you.
okay.
All right. So, what's very interesting is I've apparently watched at least over 80% of the list.
Wow.
Which isn't that bad. What have
Not
you
at
all
all.
seen? What's
I've
the
only
percentage
watched
you all have seen?
25% of it, so
I've watched, I think, 40% of it. So
Not
close
bad.
to half. Yeah.
Not bad.
Better
All
better
right.
than I thought.
Okay, so I'm just gonna run through the list, and then we'll have our opinions later. All right.
Yep.
So
all right.
you can give like a brief like, oh my god, they picked that. Oh, you could brief little aside. You can add that as well, but we'll save
Okay.
a lot of our thoughts for the end. Okay.
Okay.
At number 100, we have Roman Polanski's British horror film Repulsion, starring Kathleen Deneuve. At number 99, we have Dario Argento's classic Suspiria. At number 98, we have one of Guillermo del Toro's horror films that he made in Spain, The Devil's Backbone. At number 97, we have the classic ghost horror movie, The Haunting. At number 96, we have our first remake. It is the 1978 version of Invasion of The Body Snatchers, R.I.P. Donald Sutherland.
Yes.
Yeah, who shockingly throughout his whole career was never ever nominated for an Oscar.
At number 95, we have one of the early films from Peter Jackson pre-Lord of the Rings. We have the gory Brain Dead. At number 94, we have a film viewer's film.
Dun 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 dun.
We have Paul W.S. Anderson's Event Horizon.
What?
At
Okay.
number 93, we have our first Val Lewton classic, Cat People. At number 92, I think this one will be the most controversial. We have the Tom Six classic film, The Human Centipede 2 full sequence.
What?
At number
Crazy.
90, at number
Lit-
91, we have
Literally,
I know.
literally any Human Centipede movie would be controversial on this list. Could you even classify that as horror?
Oh God.
Welcome to the
No.
podcast, Peter.
Yeah,
All right,
I'm just saying that's my opinion.
At number 91, we have the British anthology classic film from the 40s. We have Dead of Night. At number 90, and this one I thought was surprising, we have the Japanese silent experimental film A Page of Madness. At number 89, we have a Hammer horror film. We have Christopher Lee as the vampire himself in Horror of Dracula. At number 88, we have one of the first splatter gore films ever made. It's Herschel Gordon Lewis's Blood Feast. Here's an interesting one. This is the one that Stanley Kubrick says was one of the scariest films ever made. It's George Sulzer's 1988 classic, The Vanishing.
Yes, that's usually ranked as one of the scariest movies of all time.
At number 86, we have film about scary children. We have the British classic Village of the Damned.
Oh, they're going to say The Children of the Corn, but that's not British.
True. All right, we have our first Lovecraft placement on the list. At number 85, we have Reanimator. At number 84, our favorite Canadian horror director, David Cronenberg, with the dual role from then future Academy Award winner Jeremy Irons. It's Dead Ringers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, and actually, quick question, Matt: is this the only David Cronenberg movie on this list?
We'll get into that probably.
We'll get into that. Yes.
Okay, all right, yeah, because if it is, then I'm really gonna be mad.
Peter's already pissed.
At number 83, we have a classic horror comedy from Roger Corman. The late Roger Corman. It's Little Shop of Horrors.
Yay.
Yay! And here we've got an entry from Robert Zemeckis. Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer star in What Lies Beneath.
I'll talk about that later.
You'll talk about that later. At 81, we have the classic. We've got Lon Chaney Jr. as the Wolfman. We have another remake at number 80. This one from the 50s. And in 3D, Vincent Price stars in House of Wax.
It's a good one.
But the 2000s remake, not so much.
No, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that one, Alex.
No.
House,
we
of,
do-
House of Wax
No,
was a
we do not.
remake of Mystery of the Wax Museum from 1933, starring Lionel Atwill.
Hmm.
It was one of the first horror films in Technicolor.
Hmm.
Anyway, at number 79, we have Gregory Peck adopts a child of evil. It's The Omen from 1976.
His name's not Demon, everybody. His name's Damien, not Demon. Get it right.
Zack's pissed already.
All right, we got this true story of an Austrian killer. At number 78, we have Angst. It's a pretty brutal film. Anyway,
Sounds it.
at number 77, starring a Steve McQueen at the age of 30, playing a teenager. It's
Yeah, I mean,
The
yeah.
Blob. It creeps and leaps,
It leaps,
and slides
it's on.
and glides
I mean-
across the floor,
Right onto the door.
and all
I mean, he's
around
not.
the wall.
He's not the oldest actor to play a teen. I mean, just look at Stockard Channing in Grease.
Yeah. It's a splotch. A blotch. Be careful of the blob.
Peter, don't
Let's-
spoil it. Grease is higher up on the list.
Oh, no.
And let's not confuse that with the Steve McQueen that did 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah, I don't even think he was born yet by the time the original Blob came out.
Hmm.
At number 76, we have another Val Lewton produced film. This time, it is an adaptation of Jane Eyre, set in the Voodoo Island in the Caribbean. It's Jacques Tourneur's I Walked with a Zombie.
I heard of that one. That was
Yeah.
that movie was referenced in the original It novel, where some of the two of the kids went to see that movie.
Hmm.
At number 75, we have the film that'll scare you to not go cave diving. It's The Descent.
I've seen that one.
Okay.
At number 74, this Wes Craven classic about Robert Englund haunting your dreams.
Yeah,
It's a Nightmare on Elm Street.
I'm just okay.
Yeah,
I'll just say I'm surprised it's not a little higher, but
We'll
Yeah,
get into that.
I am too.
We'll get into the stuff. So, at number 73, we have an entry from Paul Morrissey. It's Blood for Dracula, starring Udo Kier as
the way you
the
said
titular
that.
Count.
You were like, "That's Udo here."
Udo Kier. All right. At number 72, he's below in the water. It's the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Ooh.
All right. At 71, we have a sequel. American students in Slovakia discover Hostel Part
Part
2
two.
from Eli Roth.
Oh, Matt, before you do this next one, do I have permission to do 69 and 68?
69 and 68. I mean, yeah, you can if you want.
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause-
I'll do 70.
Yeah, because I actually have a good intro for each one. Since you've been doing the other ones, I figured I'd ask.
Sure. All right.
Continue.
All right.
At number 70, we have this South Korean film about the mysterious murders that happen in a small Korean town. It's The Wailing.
Too scary.
Ah.
You can do number 69. Nice.
Okay, all right.
Nice.
And that's number 69, the second film in the filmography of future Oscar-winning female director Catherine Bigelow. It is 1987's Near Dark.
Nice.
At number
And
68.
and at number 68, the breakthrough performance of future well-known but very shitty director M. Night Shyamalan.
Very
The Sixth
device
Sense.
director. Yes.
He's a very polarizing director, but he's got
That's
his own
what I
style
meant.
that
Yeah,
people
that's
like.
what I meant.
Yes,
Yes.
hits and misses.
More, but yeah. I have heard The Village in particular has been getting more love lately.
I like The Village.
All right. At number 67, Andrei Surlowski directs Isabel Adjani and Sam Neill in Possession, a story about
Possession.
separation and the
Very
dissolution
apt,
of marriage and other awful things. I don't want to spoil this film because it's so good.
Okay.
All right. At number 66, we have this Australian film is having its 10th anniversary this year.
Okay.
It's Jennifer Kent's, was it her debut film?
Yes.
The Babadook.
Recently
yes,
watched
Zack.
this. I recently
Yeah.
watched this. Was not a fan.
You want to get into that a little later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Later. Talk about save opinions for later.
Mm-hmm.
And a little asides, but save it all for later.
Well, no, I have one
All
like
right.
that for later, so it'll be exciting.
After a combination of radiation and insecticide, Scott Carey begins to shrink incredibly in 1957's The Incredible Shrinking Man at number 65.
At number 64, we have a Grindhouse movie.
From Robert Rodriguez,
Planet Terror.
Planet Terror.
Yeah,
At
released as
number
a double. Yeah,
at number
released as a
six-
double. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, you could say it. Sorry.
Released as a double feature alongside Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof, starring Kurt Russell.
At number 63, Frederick March stars as the two roles, Good and Evil, which got him an Oscar win alongside Wallace Beery for The Champ. It's 1931's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
I like the way. Wait, is that how you actually say it?
Yeah, that's actually how they said it in the film. It's Jekyll.
Dr.
Oh,
Jekyll.
Yeah.
So we've been saying it wrong.
Have we really been saying it wrong this whole time? I always thought it was Jekyll.
Yeah, I think it was the 1941 film which popularized the pronunciation of Jekyll instead of Jekyll.
So it really is. It really is Jekyll. Okay.
Because if I remember correctly from the 31 film, it's Jekyll.
Yeah. I'm.
At least that's what I recall from the Angry Video Game Nerd video about the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The many he has done.
So many.
At
So
number 62, Billy finds a strange, adorable pet named Gizmo, but don't feed it after dark, after midnight. in the Joe Dante 84 film Gremlins.
Gremlins. Also a Christmas movie.
All right. Folklore intertwines in this 1990s slasher fic. It's 1992's Candyman, starring an excellent Tony Todd. And Virginia Madsen. She's also really good in the film, too. At number 60, from the Austrian director Michael Haneke, two psychotic hostages take a family hostage in their vacation home. It's 1997's Funny Games, which he would eventually remake in 2007.
With Naomi Watts.
All right, at 1959, it's a battle of the two divas, Betty Davis and Joan Crawford. One's a paraplegic sister. The other a former child star. This 1962 Robert Aldrich film answers the question, whatever happened to Baby Jane? All right. At number 58, we have a French film. From the future director of the film, Titane, comes this film about cannibalism. It's from 2016. It's Raw.
Okay, I haven't seen that one because I know what it's about, and I'm just not about that.
Ew.
Right?
Alex would like to say, for the record, I'm not into whole cannibalism thing.
Yeah, I would say this podcast does not endorse cannibalism, which I want to make that clear.
All right, at number 57, this is a favorite of Martin Scorsese.
Oh, so you know it's good.
We got The Obsession of One, Mark Lewis. A killer who takes photographs, films his victims as they die. It's 1960. It came out before Psycho. It's Michael Powell's Peeping Tom.
Also one of your
Anna Massey
favorites.
and Maura Shearer.
Also one of your favorites too, Matt.
All right. Oh, yeah. Here you go, Peter. This answers your question. It's another remake. It's again from your favorite David Cronenberg. Jeff Goldblum becomes The Fly.
Which, in my opinion, he was absolutely robbed of a Best Actor Oscar nod. For sure.
And now Peter does not longer have to be pissed.
There you go. At number 55, I think this is probably the oldest film on the list. From Germany, we have a mad doctor controlling a somnambulist to kill. It's from 1920. It's Robert Vine's The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
So 1920 is when our list begins, or at least that's when the year begins.
I love
starring Conrad Veidt, who would eventually become known to people as Major Heinrich Strasser in the classic film Casablanca.
One thing I was just going to say quickly, we know about this movie because it was referenced numerous times in that Nicolas Cage movie we all saw. If you know, you know.
All right. At number 54, a bullied teenager who wants to get revenge on his tormentors meets a young girl named Eli, who finds out she is not what she seems. She has a taste for blood. From 2008, from the director Thomas Alfredson, who would go on to direct Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy and that awful Snowman movie. From Sweden, it's Let the Right One In.
For God's sakes, just let the right one in already.
Damn.
All right, at 53, we have David Lynch's first film. It's Eraserhead. At 52, we have an entry from Mario Bava, an early Giallo Italian filmmaker. Models murdered, mysterious figures in Rome. It's Blood and Black Lace. We have one of the at number 51, we have one of the most infamous films from French filmmaker Gaspar Noé. It's Irreversible.
Ooh, we're halfway through.
Yes, we're halfway through. I'm gonna try this
Officially.
Cue the intermission music.
That's pretty good.
And we're back.
At number 50, we have this Japanese classic about two women killing samurai in a swamp for their valuables. I think I have a review for this movie. What does my review say? The medieval Japanese version of It's Just a Prank, Bro. Oh my gosh. From 1964, from Kanito Shinido, it's Onebaba. All right. We have a debut film set
Another.
in 17th century New England. A family relocate and strange things start happening in the woods.
Ooh,
From
like it normally does around here.
from 2016, Robert
15.
Eggers directs the film The Witch.
Wait, is it
No.
from 16? I thought it was 15.
It came out in festivals in 2015.
Actually,
but it didn't come out wide in the United States until 2016.
All right, enough of the
and
nerd.
it actually is pronounced the bitch.
The BB itch. Get it right.
Subtitled A New England Folktale.
Hey, enough of the nerd voice.
Sweaty nerd right here.
All right, at number 48, Tippi Hedren has to face up against a flock of birds in Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds.
As well as the abuse of
That was
Hitchcock himself.
True. Yes, he unfortunately did like his blondes. That's not good.
Mm-hmm.
At number 78, Zach, let's take it away.
All right.
It's Gojira from 1954.
Gojira!
All right, at number 46, it's another remake of a classic film.
And considered one of John Carpenter's greatest.
A research station in Antarctica becomes inundated with a shape-shifting alien.
That they call
1982's The Thing.
The Thing. also starring Kurt Russell.
At number 45, from filmmaker James Whale, brings us the classic tale from H.G. Wells about a man who becomes invisible in Claude Rains' debut. It's The Invisible Man.
Ooh, okay. And at number 44, we have the third film in director Michael Mann's repertoire. The first ever film in the Hannibal Lecter series portrayed exquisitely by, I think, wait, is he Irish or Scottish? Or hang on.
Well, we'll get into that.
But yeah, anyway, we
Scottish.
have 1986's Manhunter.
Really good.
That's number 43.
At number 43, we have Occults, Vampires. We have this 1930s surreal mix of silence and sound in Carl Theodor Dreyer's classic 30s film Vampire. It was the film he made after Passion of Joan of Arc.
Ah.
Vampire.
Vampire.
Okay.
All right, at number 42, taking place in media res, a killer virus has been unleashed upon the people of Britain.
Oh, 28 days later.
These zombies
Yeah.
are coming after you 28 days later.
Zombie.
From
Danny
brilliant
Boyle.
from the brilliant director of Trainspotting and other films, Danny Boyle, who's also been compared as a British Stanley Kubrick in the way he plays around with different genres.
All right. This film
keep this going.
at number 41 is somewhat based on a true story, as much of a true story as you can get from film director Ken Russell, about the possession of the nuns of Loudun. It's about hysteria, sexually repressed nuns, and an Oliver Reed playing Father Urbain Grandier in 1971's classic The Devils. All right, at number 40, She's Alive! Dr. Frankenstein's former tutor, Dr. Pretorius, comes back with his former creature and asks for his help to create a new creature, a mate.
And one of the first movies with gay themes.
It's 1935's classic Bride of Frankenstein. Right. Oh, at number 39, we have this Japanese anthology film. Its title is taken from an archaic word meaning ghost story, adapting 4 classic Japanese folk tales. It's 1964 from the film director Masakai Kobayashi. It's Kawaidan. At number 38, this film was very controversial when it came out back in 1932. A beautiful trapeze artist tries to take advantage of sideshow performers.
Oh, jeez.
It's Todd Browning's 1932 classic, Freaks.
And we're not talking about ourselves.
Otherwise known as the movie with that song that goes, one of us, gooba
Gooba
gaba,
gobbles,
gooba.
gooba gobbles, one of us, one of us.
Famously parodied on The Simpsons.
And South Park.
All right, at number 37, David Hemmings is an English pianist living in Rome, but he witnesses a brutal murder of his neighbor. With the help of a young reporter, he has to try to piece together his memory to discover who the killer is in Dario Argento's Deep Red.
Ooh. And at 36, we have legendary modern horror director Ari Aster's debut, which also features a notorious Oscar snubbed performance from Toni Collette. It is Hereditary.
Which I think might be the most recent film on this list.
Is it?
We'll find out.
All right, at number 35, we featured its remake. Now we're featuring the original. A small town doctor finds that his town is being replaced by alien duplicates. 1956's Tommy Oligarch. What's the word I'm thinking of? What's the word I'm thinking of?
Oligarchy.
That's not the right pronunciation of it.
Allegory.
Allegory. Thank you. I'm dumb. It's 1956.
It's okay. I'm a
communist
teacher.
allegory, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Also, is one of the best final scenes in cinema history.
All right. Here's a sequel. Ash Williams and his girlfriend are in a log cabin in the woods. They come across the Book of the Dead, and evil is unleashed in 1987 from Sam Raimi, the future director of the Spider-Man trilogy. Comes Evil Dead 2.
The sequel to his directorial debut.
The Evil Dead.
So happy belated birthday to Sam Raimi, by the way.
Oh yes, the legendary director is now 66.
Oh yeah, his birthday was last one. Is
yesterday.
Yesterday.
This.
At number 33, this classic German sound film from legendary director Fritz Lang. The Berlin police and Berlin Underground are on the hunt for one man, a child killer, played excellently by Peter Lorre. It's 1931's M. All right, at number 32, have you heard the tale of Left Hand, Right Hand? The tale of good and evil? Robert Mitchum plays a serial killer, a preacher, on the hunt for two children who know the whereabouts of a stash of money. The only film directed by Academy Award-winning actor Charles Laughton, starring Robert Mitchum, Shelley Winters, and Lillian Gish. It's 1955's The Night of the Hunter.
Of the Hunter.
One of my favorite films. All right. At number 31, and we're not talking about the American remake, but the Japanese original. A mysterious video is linked to a number of deaths.
Oh, Rain.
Strange connection with a girl and a well in a mirror.
A mirror,
All this adds up In 1998, the original Ring, or Ringu, if you prefer.
Ringu.
All right, at number 30, this French classic from Georges Franju. His daughter was disfigured in a horrible accident. And now he spends his time kidnapping young women, bringing them to his mansion, and removing their face to replace on his daughters. From 1960, we have the film Eyes Without a Face. Not to be confused with the Billy Idol film, the Billy Idol song. I want to try to look up. Oh yeah, it was horribly edited and dubbed in the 60s under the title "The Horror Chamber of Dr. Faustus," which is a
What?
hilarious name.
Dr.
not-
Faustus?
That's not even the name of the
The
doctor.
care. It's
in
just
the-
they just got that name out of their ass.
I don't know.
Apparently.
Something like that.
But we digress.
It was a double feature on the, with the film The Manster. The Manster.
The Manster. What a name.
But now Eyes Without a Face is considered a classic, and it's in the Criterion Collection. All right, at number 29, we have another silent horror classic from the man of 1,000 faces himself, Lon Chaney. Under the Paris Opera House lies the Phantom of the Opera.
Da-na-na! Da-na-na-na!
All right. At number 28, a police sergeant is called to an island to investigate a missing person, only to discover the strange occult nature of the people who live there. From 1973, it's The Wicker Man.
The father of folk horror.
One of the three defining films that make up folk horror, along with Witchfinder General and the blood on the something's foot. The blood on Satan's claw. The blood on Satan's claw. That's the other film.
Which one's the best one, quick?
I've only seen The Wicker Man.
Okay. All right, continue.
All right, at number 27, starring Hungarian actor whose performance in this film is so legendary, it's imitated and thought of to this very day. The bloodsucker himself, Bela Lugosi, is Dracula. 27. Now at number 26.
Huh.
Hold on, I just got... Oh, sorry. I got someone messaged me, and I got confused because it's like right now, Discord makes a little like ding with a little bone shimmy noise. So I got caught off guard from that. So I will resume. Anyway, at number, what was it? 26.
26.
Deborah Kerr plays a young governess meant to look over two children in a large house. But things are not what they seem. The children may be possessed, and the grounds might be haunted. 1961 from film director Jack Clayton. It's The Innocents, based on the turning of the screw.
Number 25, we got another Wes Craven movie.
We got another Wes Craven film. Do you like horror movies? Well, this killer does. From 1996. It's The Masked Killer. It's Scream.
Ah!
The scream, the painting, the horror.
At number 24,
This is an
Film.
interesting one because this is a movie I could not get into. But I digress.
it's a film with a incredibly interesting campaign strategy. One that made people think it was real.
And one of the first ever found footage films ever made. If not the first.
At least one of the first to popularize the found footage genre.
Even before Paranormal Activity.
It actually isn't the first. If you think about there was the movie The Last Broadcast, which isn't really a good film, but it kind of uses a similar format to that. And
Yeah.
even if you think further ahead, you think of the film Cannibal Holocaust.
Cannibal Holocaust.
And anyway, I'm getting off track. It's 1992's
Nine.
the famous horror film Blair Witch Project.
I'm gonna get into that because that is a movie I could not get into.
It's a
but-
film viewer's film.
Yeah, we watched it during Halloween.
Yeah,
What else have we
that.
watched? We watched also The Night of the Hunter is a film viewer's film. Bride of Frankenstein is a film viewer's film. What else is a film viewer's film that I forgot to mention?
Well,
Was
there's
The
a few
Bird?
others coming up.
No. I think that was all. Anyway, let's continue.
Number 23. I just watched the remake of this version of this movie. Not too long ago.
But this is the OG from the
Nope.
legendary zombie film director himself, George A. Romero.
It's Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead. Zombies are trapped in the mall.
And basically the entire movie, George A. Romero shits on consumerism.
So does Zack Snyder in the remake, but I digress.
At number 22, Mary survives is the only survivor of a fatal car accident. Tries to put it behind her, becomes a church organist, but is followed by fiendish ghosts, telling her to join the Carnival of Souls.
Oh
From
shit.
1962. Directed, the only directorial feature from Herc Harvey,
Hmm.
who plays the main ghoul himself.
Number 21. The poster's freaking me out, so let's just get into it.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Another one from Italian horror director Mario Bava. A vengeful witch wants to take possession of a descendant's body and is now coming to life. 1960s Black Sunday. At number 20,
We
It's
have
a
the
fairly-
directorial
another
debut of, yeah.
it's another political allegory, but it's a
As
great
well
film.
as-
This
as
horror
well as-
film.
as well as the directorial debut of comedian Jordan Peele.
Yeah,
It's
Get Out.
2017's
Get Out.
Oscar winner, Get Out.
So Zach was right. Hereditary is the most recent movie on this list.
But only by a small margin.
Yes.
At number 19, Karloff the Uncanny stars as an Egyptian prince named Imhotep, who tries to reincarnate the soul of his lost lover in the modern day. And I think the American directorial debut of famous cinematographer Karl Freund, excuse me. It's 1932's The Mummy.
Like Alex said about Blair Witch, I could not get into this movie.
Okay. Oh wait, no, it's not the Brendan Fraser one, so never mind.
It's not the Brendan Fraser one, no.
Which
But
I haven't
fun
seen
fact,
before.
the director Karl Freund, who's best known as a cinematographer, he did the cinematography for a lot of Murnau's films, including The Last Laugh, which best featured like the sort of unchained cinematography, which was very famous at the time. And also later on, he would do the cinematography for I Love Lucy.
That is very interesting.
Yes.
Oh, number 18.
Number 18 from master film director Stanley Kubrick. I think is this our first entry of a Stephen King adaptation?
It might be.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So
1980s The Shining.
Jack is stuck in the Overlook Hotel in 1980s The Shining. All right, at number 17. A school headmaster's meek wife and mistress planned to murder him. From French film director André Georges Clouzot. It's 1955's Les Diaboliques.
I like the name.
And at number 16, we have the third movie in iconic horror director John Carpenter's filmography.
The night when Michael Myers came home.
One of the precursors of the slasher horror subgenre. We have
1978's
Halloween.
Halloween.
Number 15. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there.
Almost there.
From film director Nicholas Roeg. And again, starring the late Donald Sutherland.
R.I.P.
A grieving couple who are grieving over the loss of their child meet up in what's the city? Venice?
I think so.
And they believe that they're getting a message from the afterlife from their daughter. It's 1973's Don't Look Now. All right, at number 14. This classic German expressionist film that we are getting a remake of later this year. From great German film director F.W. Murnau comes this classic adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's 1922's Nosferatu. At number 13, from film director Jonathan Demme.
I'm trying to do that.
The second entry into the Hannibal Lecter series, and
Clarice
also as well as the third and most recent film to win the Big Five Oscars.
Clarice is trying to interview Dr. Hannibal Lecter to find out about current serial killer in 1991's The Silence of the Lambs.
Dr. Lecter.
At number 12, adventurous film director Carl Denham sets out on a voyage into the unknown. With his first mate Jack and leading lady Anne, they discover...
I gave it away. I'm sorry.
You ruined it.
I'm like doing this whole thing. From Marion C. Cooper and Ernest Zack. It's 1933's blockbuster film King Kong,
which is also known as Peter Jackson's favorite film. And now,
number 11,
the second entry in director Ridley Scott's iconic filmography, and also featuring the breakthrough performance of iconic actress Sigourney Weaver.
In space, no one can hear you scream.
1979's
Alien.
Number 10. This has a shitty remake.
Oh,
But
That's
this
how you open it, Alex. This
our-
movie has a
our-
shitty remake.
our
this
Calm
second
down,
one,
guys. Calm down, guys. All right, another
okay,
Stephen
yes,
King adaptation.
as well as our second Brian De Palma film.
In our second Stephen King film.
but it does
Oh
have a
Starring-
wait,
shitty
actually,
remake.
wait, have we had other Brian De Palma films on here, or is this the only one?
This is the only one. I think.
Oh no, my mistake. Manhunter was Michael Mann. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the only one. This is the only one.
But yeah, it's Carrie
Starring Sissy Spacek and Piper Laurie.
and John Travolta.
Young John Travolta.
and Steven Spielberg's first wife, Amy Irving.
But yeah, watch this one. Don't bother with the remake with Chloe Grace Moretz and Julianne Moore, the psycho mother. Don't bother with that one.
Nah.
Number 9. All I see is a picture of a naked person. I wonder what this is.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. From Italian film director Pier Paolo Pasolini, a film about fascists rounding up teenagers and subjecting them to torture. It from 1975.
I'll let
The
you
film
say it.
that probably killed the director. The film that probably caused this assassination attempt. Not attempt, actual assassination.
Well, yeah.
That's awful.
It's 1975's Salo, or the 120 Days of Sodom.
Yeah,
May
I
I
think
do-
I'll-
may
Probably one of the most controversial films of all time.
may
I
I do
think
number
I'll-
8?
Easily.
You may.
All right. In a castle in a dark evening night, we have one of the greatest horror movies, monster movies of all time. Boris Karloff as the creature created by
Colin Clive.
Colin
Who
Clive,
plays?
who plays in my grandfather's favorite horror movie, Frankenstein, the OG.
Directed by
which
James
is
Whale.
also a film viewers movie.
Yeah, we did a double feature with Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, we did.
All right, at number 7, from director Takashi Miike, a widower seeks a new wife, and taking the advice of a friend, decides to stage an audition to interview a series of women to try to find the perfect woman. He finds one, the quiet Asami, but soon things aren't as they seem. 1999's Audition.
See, this is one I didn't know existed.
I recommend it. The ending will make you squirm.
And at number 6, we have iconic horror director George A. Romero's directorial debut, the blueprint for all zombie films to follow, Night of the Living Dead.
They're coming
And
to
at
get
number-
you, Barbara.
And at number
Also-
5, we have a movie where Zack told me that Matt would not buy it until the director was dead.
And this movie also came out the same year as Night of the Living Dead.
Nice. Starring Academy Award winner Ruth Gordon in the film that got her the Oscar. Mia Farrow plays a woman currently pregnant in an apartment that I don't know, she's being frightened with legends, mystery, cults, deaths, all surrounding her and the people around her. It's Rosemary's Baby from that goddamn asshole Roman Polanski.
That goddamn asshole.
Again,
Why are you a good film director and a fucking pedophile. Fuck you. I hate you.
And again, a movie that Matt will not buy until he's dead.
It's also a movie I will
Fuck
not.
you. If I'm only buying your movie, it's for John Cassavetes because he's actually a good person and he's a wife guy and he's good. Fuck you, Roman.
See,
Piece of shit.
I will not see this movie until he's dead. And I've already broken that with Chinatown earlier this year.
No,
but,
I do recommend you see it. I do.
but I will
Yeah,
not
'cause-
see it until that asshole is dead.
I mean, like, I'm conflicted because I literally, like, AMC has been showing like obviously tons of horror movies with throughout the month of October. So I
Yeah.
have a recording of Rosemary's Baby, but
Watch
like,
it. It's a good movie.
well, yeah, but like, I'm not sure whether or not I should just hop on the bandwagon of not watching it till Roman Polanski dies.
Just watch it. I just recommend
Just
it.
watch it if you already recorded it.
There's so many movies that are already made by bad people.
That is
Fair
true. But number 4, this is a movie made by a good person.
Oh, yes.
Da-da.
Good save there.
The blockbuster to end
and-
all blockbusters.
And features an Oscar-winning score courtesy of John Williams.
It is one of like, the
1975's.
most popular summer movies in our state of Massachusetts. It is Jaws.
Ba-da-ba-da!
All right. At number 3.
We have
you know
probably
I'm excited about this one.
we have
Yeah,
probably
From director Alfred Hitchcock.
we have
Mar-
probably the most iconic horror movie ever conceived.
All right, let Matt go.
All right. Marion Crane is on the run after stealing a bunch of money from an employer. Comes across a hotel with a meek young motel owner obsessed with his mother. But that obsession is a lot more than she will bargain for. Don't take a shower at the Bates Motel in 1960s Psycho, one of my favorite films.
And don't remake this with Vince Vaughn wearing a dress ever again, please.
Yeah, we still have never forgiven you, Gus Van Sant. All right, and our runner-up on this list.
Well, I've forgiven him. He did make My Own Private Idaho.
Yeah,
And Good Will Hunting, but I
and
digress.
Good Will Hunting.
Okay,
But I really like My Own
and
Private Idaho.
anyway,
Yes.
on to our runner-up.
Number 2!
Directed by previous Best Director and Picture winner William Friedkin, and adapted from William Peter Blatty's acclaimed horror 1971 horror novel, and also featuring Oscar-nominated performances courtesy of Ellen Burstyn and Jason Miller and Linda Blair. It is 1973's
The
The
Exorcist.
Exorcist.
And last but not
All
least,
right. So what do you think number 1
Rose.
is? If you didn't see it, if you didn't see what you probably already see it on your screen. But if you hadn't known what the number 1 pick is, what would you have thought it would have been?
I thought The Exorcist.
I would have thought The Exorcist too, but
And
The
The
Exorcist
for
2?
Halloween-
What? No,
No,
it
The
wouldn't be
Exorcist
The
as
Exorcist
well.
2, The Heretic.
No,
I'm just
I meant,
kidding.
like, you know what I meant. Like, also,
I know. I'm being an asshole.
Yeah,
I also thought Halloween 1978.
I would have put Psycho at number 1.
But yeah,
At
let's,
number 1, from film director Tobe Hooper, 5 friends go down to Texas and face their fears
of Chainsaw.
during 1974's Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Basically, moral of the story is,
Don't go to Texas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't go to Texas, but don't pick up hitchhikers if they look extra sketchy.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. I just
Also, if
watched
you're
this
in,
one,
if you're in a wheelchair in Texas, good luck.
Oh yeah, yeah,
even though the governor is in one now.
yeah.
Oh, it's kind of ironic. Now I feel like an asshole.
Sorry, Franklin.
But it's funny, I just watched this in the second one a couple nights ago. I really like the second one.
Second one's wild.
It was. But thoughts on this list. Speaking of this director,
We did it, guys. We got through the list.
Got through the list. We got through the
Yay!
list. We gotta. It's
And good
we're a
job,
little
good-
over. So
And good job, Matt, with all those brilliant introductions.
this is almost becoming an episode.
Yeah, it
But
is. I didn't
you
expect
can-
that.
you can condense it down, I'm sure.
All right. So
Oh yeah,
thoughts, opinions.
so right off the bat, Zach and I can probably agree on this one because we're talking about Tobe Hooper right now.
Personally, I
Um,
think for a pick, I think it's one of the best. I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of my favorite films, and it's also a film viewer's film.
Of course.
So
But
was
why
Psycho
was-
and Jaws
But why was
No.
not my favorite
and
horror
Silence
movie?
of the Lambs.
Why was
Yeah,
my
well,
favorite? Probably one of
Matt
Al's favorite horror movies not in it.
me. Yeah, Matt kept interrupting me and wouldn't let me say it. Where the
I'm
fuck is
sorry.
Poltergeist? It's okay. Where the fuck is Poltergeist?
I know. There's well, let's get into the things that we found interesting, and then we can go off on things that weren't on the list.
Nightmare on
Okay.
Elm Street was on the list way too low.
Oh, I was about to say.
I
yeah, that-
said let's do interesting things first,
That was
and then
interesting.
critique it,
That was interesting.
and then critique it.
and also one other
Like,
interesting
oh,
thing.
I thought this was an interesting pick, or oh, like.
All right,
Oh,
what I thought
all right,
interesting.
I got
Chainsaw
one.
Massacre.
I got one, Matt.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry.
What lies beneath? I thought was an interesting thing to put on here because, for one, it's just a jump scare filled movie. You can tell Robert Zemeckis doesn't know how to fucking make a horror movie. It's just jump scares
Jeez.
galore.
Jeez, Alex.
Yo,
I didn't.
How dare you shit talk Robert Zemeckis?
I didn't hate the movie. It's just there was way more jump scares in there than I was expecting.
I
And you're saying that's a bad thing?
They were done pretty bad, yes.
also
You know, like the cheap
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
kind where you know they're fucking coming, like before it happens. That kind of jump.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Fair.
I'll start. All right. I was surprised by the addition of silent film A Page of Madness. Because it's a Japanese
what
film
was
about
that?
someone just went across their mic.
Okay, go ahead.
So it's about a guy who takes a job at an asylum where his wife is. It's only like about a little over an hour long, and it's silent. It doesn't have intertitles because back in Japan, they had like a person, the sort of kind of like how they do in plays, where they have a person like say what's happening on the screen back in the silent days. Unfortunately, that part of the film is lost, so we just have the images that kind of like help us tell the story, and it's very experimental in that way. Now that that's lost, so it was just like recently found, and it was restored and all that. So I thought this was an interesting choice to have in the on the list.
In the grand scheme of things, yeah.
I thought it was interesting having some of the 2010 films that were on this list, like Hereditary and Get Out. I thought that was interesting to have those on the
Oh, yeah.
list. Especially they both made the top 50.
I liked the addition of Angst as like one of these like true story slasher kind of films that a list like this would have. So something like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, for example, or something along those lines, where it's like somewhat based on a true story,
Mhm.
a very horrifying true story. So I like the ranking of I Walked with a Zombie. I'm glad that's getting a lot of more attention in like the grand scheme of like Val Lewton films. And
Thanks to Stephen King.
I especially thought it was interesting. It's ranking above Cat People, which I thought was a more popular film. But I do personally prefer I Walked with a Zombie a little more than Cat People after I recently rewatched it at the recommendation of like one of the films that was recommended by Apashapong West Ethical in his like New York uh, slate of films he recommended.
Mm. I thought it was interesting all the foreign non-English films that were on the list.
Oh yeah, I have like I also like looked at this list and I kind of looked at how many were from each country. Do you want me to go through the whole thing?
Yeah, quick.
So besides international produced films like between different countries, like the US and different countries. So we have a little over 30 something films that are not made in the US. There's 10 from the United Kingdom from our folks over across the pond.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the next ones at 5 films apiece, we've got 5 from Italy, 5 from Japan, and 5 from Germany.
Interesting.
We've got 4 from France. Then we have 2 from the Netherlands and 2 from Austria. And other countries featured on the list: Spain, New Zealand, Canada, South Korea, Australia, and Sweden.
That is interesting.
A little sort of.
Peter, you have any thoughts?
Oh,
Interesting thoughts.
interesting thoughts. I mean, this is just my personal opinion. I was actually kind of shocked that An American Werewolf in London didn't make this list.
You know what? Why don't we just go with the? Yeah, I understand. Let's go with the obvious thing. There are a lot of films that aren't on this list.
Yeah,
But it is a good list.
Yeah, because
it's an interesting list. Yes.
Yeah, because An American Werewolf in London not only is one of the best horror comedies ever, it also won the first ever Best Makeup Oscar.
All right. Do you mind if I go through some like the films that I think that this list does not include?
Okay, well,
Zach,
and
I
before
already
you
said
and
the one we
before
were
you
gonna
do,
talk about.
yeah, and before you do, Matt, like, and that's without
Because
even
I will
mentioning,
also critique this list
yeah,
as well. I
and
wanted to get
yeah,
all the positive stuff out of the way.
right, and
After
that's
you
without
attacked me
even,
for being negative.
yeah, and
Yeah, because I wanted us to go with the positive first. We're never positive on this podcast. Jesus.
All right.
okay, and and
All
then
right.
that's without even mentioning the fact that without An American Werewolf in London, we wouldn't have Michael Jackson's Thriller video.
That is true.
Yeah, because it was he who had contacted John Landis and Rick Baker to even make it in the first place after watching that movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So,
Let's not make Matt
a critique
angry.
of Variety's list by Matthew.
Okay.
I feel like this list is more or less a list of important films rather than a list of best or the most enjoyable films, horror wise. And yes, it's missing a lot of films, and you can't include every horror film in a top 100 list. and you especially can't when it's the opinions of a group of like 7 or 8 people combined all together. You'll get a lot of people like that, but and you do get a lot of the obvious picks. That top 5 is really strong and full of like a lot of classics. That is always uh, a standard lineup in a top horror movies list. You know, Texas Chainsaw, Exorcist, Psycho, Jaws, and Rosemary's Baby. Yes. So if you don't mind, I'll go through some stuff that I feel like could have been on there.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I thought was missing was there's a lack of horror comedy on this list.
No, there is.
So you could say, does that belong on a comedy list or does it belong on a horror list? You could like nitpick on whether or not one's one genre or another. But I think horror comedy can go in a horror. It's the same as it could a comedy.
What was the only one
know?
that was technically on there? What,
The only
Dead?
one-
Evil Dead 2? Scream?
I think the funnier one, the one that's more a comedy with horror, was Little Shop of Horrors. That's the only one that I think really is.
I always
horror
thought
comedy.
Evil Dead 2 was a comedy.
It kind of is, but
I don't
at the
know. It's
same
not. It's
time-
not as horror comedy as Army of Darkness is.
Yeah,
Oh,
or Little Shop of
definitely.
Or
Oh,
Little
no,
Shop
But
of
it's
Horrors.
definitely more comedic than The Evil Dead.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
definitely more comedic than the 2013 remake. And
So
Evil Dead Rise, so
if I have to give examples, Young Frankenstein. I know Zack would agree with that one.
yes.
Yeah, I thought this would have at least been in maybe the bottom of the top 100 list.
Off the top of my head, Shaun of the Dead.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Evil. What We Do in the Shadows, maybe.
Yeah, because that was
Maybe that one might be a little too new.
I don't know. Well, I don't know, but what would you
maybe.
do? I don't know. What would you do in the Shadows? I feel like was the influential movie,
Yeah, I mean,
and it spawned a
It's
TV
a
show.
popular TV show out.
yeah,
now,
it is.
So yeah.
Maybe at least the first Zombieland, but that's just me.
Yeah, Zombieland maybe. I feel like just being a lot more straight-laced with the specific classics and not going with some of the more overly comedic films it just shows the tendency towards being like a little more straight-laced with this list.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Another thing, no horror musicals, no Rocky Horror or Phantom of the Paradise.
Yeah, those
Wait,
should have been on there.
Wait, Phantom of the Opera doesn't count?
No, the Phantom of the Opera included is a silent film. It's not a musical.
Okay.
It did have a
Yeah.
sound re-release in 1929. Fun fact. Anyway, should I just list some specific films?
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll go
All right.
for it.
briefly.
1997, the Japanese classic Cure by Kiyoshi Kurosawa. The Czechoslovakian horror film The Cremator. That's a great one. There's a lack of animated horror films from films like The Wolf House or something a lot more acclaimed and beloved like Coraline.
Oh yeah.
Or like one of the
or the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas, or another more the Tim Burton's Corpse Bride, something like that. There's kind of like a lack of like animated material along this list.
Yeah, and not Hocus Pocus. Too much of a family film.
I
mean, would you include Hocus Pocus or no?
I don't know. You could. There's the Japanese horror classic House, which
Oh,
is
I was
also a
waiting.
film
I
Viewers
was
film.
waiting for you to mention that.
Yes. One of my favorites, and also another film Viewers film, American Psycho, with a
Yes.
fantastic horror performance from Christian Bale.
I mean, his hip to be square dance is legendary.
Hip to be square.
I know. Peter, when I mentioned Cronenberg being the only one, you were hesitant, and then I mentioned The Fly, and you were relieved. But where's Videodrome?
Yes. Oh my god.
Where's Videodrome?
Thought they would include that.
And even Scanners.
I don't know. Videodrome should be on there, which I thought was better than Dead Ringers or The Fly, personally.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're all good. But
I don't know about better than The Fly, but Videodrome is definitely good. Easily one of James Woods' best performances. Oh, and for those music fans out there, Videodrome also features Blondie lead singer Debbie Harry.
let's see. Let me. So there's, well, they feature like at least two other Jacques Tourneur films. Who's known for working with Val Lewton and also for doing film noirs and westerns and things like that. But what about his other film that he made in the UK, Night of the Demon? For you Rocky Horror fans, um, it's mentioned in the opening track.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and for you music fans, it's featured in a brief clip at the beginning of Kate Bush's song "Hounds of Love." It's in the trees. It's coming. We have the others. That's not on the list. Ravenous. So on the list we have Raw, but if you want to talk about another really good cannibal film, we have Ravenous. I recommend that one too. So there is one Roger Corman film on the list, The Little Shop of Horrors, but where's any of his films that he worked with Vincent Price on, the Poe films?
Also, no Edgar Allan Poe films on this list.
No Edgar Allan Poe films on this list at all. You could have added Mask of the Red Death, House of Usher, even The Raven, The Haunted Palace, even though that's actually Lovecraft and not Edgar Allan Poe. But I digress. You could have also included that. What else? We have Haksan, which is a 20s documentary about witchcraft. American Werewolf in London, like Peter said. Lon Chaney's The Unknown, which I think is better than Phantom of the Opera. We have Clear Cut, which is a fantastic film starring was it Graham Greene, and he plays like a Native American in Canada whose land is being chopped down, clear cut, by this rich guy, and a lawyer's trying to defend his tribe, and he's fed up with it, and he enlists the lawyer to help him kidnap and torture the guy who owns the landscaping or the tree cutting company. I don't know. It's a really good film. I do
Sounds
really
like
highly
it.
recommend that. It's a film that has you question like the legitimacy of action and for the sake of uh oppression and how far it should go. So it's kind of like something along those lines. It'll get you to think, but it's also really good.
Anything
Oh,
else?
Hammer horror. There's only one film. It only features the horror of Dracula, no Curse of Frankenstein, which I thought was interesting. There is
Or
only
Christopher Lee's original Dracula.
There is 1, 2, 3. So there's Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, The Mummy, and The Wolfman. as part of the Universal Horror Cycle.
And Invisible
correct?
Man.
And Invisible Man. So there's 5. But no Black Cat. Again, another Edgar Allan Poe related film. But I think Black Cat is probably one of the best.
Yeah, and even I thought Son of Frankenstein could have deserved to be on this list.
Oh yeah, definitely. The Uninvited, one of the first real ghost films. Before The Uninvited, a lot of at least in the United States,
Also, what
ghost
about
films.
White Zombie?
White Zombie, yes. The Uninvited is one of the first like real ghost films where the ghosts are actually ghosts and not like, oh, it was actually someone trying to steal a jewel, so they pretended that the house was haunted as like a way to get the money or something like that. No, it's like in that film, it's ghosts. It's fucking ghosts. It's dead people who are dead. Ghosts. That's cool. No Tremors. There's a lack of like other than Bride of Frankenstein and spoilers. Let the Right One In. There really isn't too many queer horror films on this list. So no Hellraiser, the film maker behind that was queer, definitely, or Jennifer's Body. That's gained like a clear cult status that I feel like it could have added on the list. And there's a couple of modern films on here as well, but there's definitely a lot that you could have put on. There's you could have done Cabin in the Woods, It Follows,
Midsummer.
Midsummer, The Lighthouse. What else do I have on here? The House of the Devil. You could have put that one on. Lake Mungo, which I feel like is an interesting film that I feel like could get a lot more praise. There's no
Some more modern foreign horror films.
Oh, there's some more foreign films. Like I mentioned a couple of Japanese films like Hausu. But what about a Russian film like V or a Spanish film like Arrebato? I mentioned Cure and Cremator. How about Alejandro Jodorowsky's Santa Sangre, or a Korean film like I Saw the Devil. I know there's a Korean film with The Wailing, so there's also that. But what the Guatemalan film La Llorona, for example. How
I know
about
not the Conjuring
some?
spin-off.
What about? I feel like it could be interesting if it added like some lesser known cult classics that are just kind of bubbling under the greatest status. It would kind of like add to that. So like a film like Messiah of Evil or something along those lines. And I feel like it could be bold if they added like some of the lesser known films from great horror filmmakers. Like I personally prefer some of the more grindhousey early films of Wes Craven more so than his more popular films like Hills Have Eyes or Last House on the Left.
Oh yeah.
Certainly you could make a case for the more fantastic 80s aesthete of Nightmare on Elm Street, or the political allegory and just wacky versus horror of people under the stairs. Certainly you could make a case for those two films as well. So
right.
But I really like the sort of that early stuff he did.
Yeah. Like the Last House on the Left specifically, like I've seen that before, like to like it's just like it is like absolutely fucked up. Like
Oh yeah.
just to think like it's just kind of jarring watching that in comparison to like Nightmare and Scream
Oh yeah. Or
and
Brazil. I forgot about Brazil. Sorry to interrupt. But At Midnight I'll Take Your Soul. That also would have been an interesting pick as well. There's just so many things that also could have been on the list. But there's also some things on the list that I think are questionable, and I'll let you finish.
oh
Sorry.
no, No, no. That's all I was gonna say.
Okay, yeah.
I
Now,
I was gonna say I never thought we went. I don't know how many. We went over a year never mentioning one of the Human Centipede films until now on this podcast.
oh yeah,
I never thought we
yeah.
would talk about a Human Centipede movie, but here we
Okay,
go. We
yeah.
have.
There's a couple of questionable picks. Like I haven't seen What Lies Beneath, so I don't know if that's like totally a questionable pick, but it's definitely not one of those like all-encompassing classic picks that you would usually find on a list like this. Excuse me. But
Well, I don't hate that it's there. It's just an
Human Centipede
interesting
2
story.
did raise an eyebrow, and I think it's probably one of those films put on the list to raise an eyebrow. Not that I think that the person who put it on
Do you think
didn't
it's
like
like
it and just
almost
put
like?
it on for a controversy. I don't think that.
Do you think
I
it's
think
almost like? Oh, do you think it's almost like Matt? Like how we talked about before, like how people on Letterboxd are obsessed with Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie.
maybe it kind of probably mirrors that. Maybe a little bit.
Like a fan favorite almost.
Yeah. Blood Feast by Herschel Gordon Lewis is an interesting pick. I watched it immediately after I saw it on the list. It's uh I wouldn't say it's a good film, but it's an
Important film.
important film. It's one of the first gore films, so yeah.
Also, I was confused by Salo being on this list.
Yeah, there's also a
I
couple of
thought
films that
I thought Salo isn't really horror. It's just a horrific film. You know what I mean?
yeah, there are a couple of films that I question it being horror. Solo's one of them. I've always questioned on whether or not people think Night of the Hunter is a horror film. I feel like it's
Yeah.
got horror elements, but it never fully clears the
I feel like there's only a few scenes
thriller.
that you would consider them horror in that movie, like the staircase scene and maybe the river scene.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't truly encapsulate it. Anyway, and then there's also like some weird ranking.
Yeah.
Let me explain. I love Suspiria. Suspiria is at least as far as I've delved into, one of Dario Argento's best. And I think it's ludicrous that Deep
That's
Red is
it's
above
99.
that it's 99 and Deep Red is so way above it at 37.
Suspiria should be at least in the top, I would say 25.
I think Suspiria is way better than Deep Red. And I think a Deep Red isn't even the best Dario Argento film about an English speaker in Italy who witnessed a murder and has to recall it. It's not even the best version of the story that is. Anyway,
Mhm.
that's my opinion. I know that's my opinion, but that's what I think. Also, I thought, oh no, they put The Thing at 46.
I mean, maybe a little
26,
bit
a
higher,
little bit higher, yeah.
At least in the
30.
top 40, if not the top 20 or 25. It's like
Mhm.
it's really low for the standard of the internet. At least I know
Oh
it
yeah.
it is a beloved classic. So I thought that was weird, but feel like personally, I thought Bride of Frankenstein being below Frankenstein, because I personally think Bride of Frankenstein is better than the original OG.
And I'm the opposite. I think Frankenstein is better than Bride of Frankenstein, so it's funny that we differ on that. But I love both of them, so
Oh, I love both of them. I just prefer Bride of Frankenstein a little
yeah.
more because I feel like it 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 did it saw what the original did
I
and was
also think
like,
yeah.
I'll amp it up. It
I
amps
also
up.
yeah.
Beautiful score, great performance from Ernest Thesiger. Uh, it's a great performance from Boris Karloff. returning as a monster, adding a lot more pathos with that scene in the cabin with the blind man.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Lots of Christian iconography that is just like, yeah, I will have the monster on the cross. Yeah, I'll
Right.
do all these offensive things. James Whale was just doing was just making a movie and just being fun with it. Doing whatever he wants. Should I begin the movie with Mary Shelley telling the story of Frankenstein to Lord Byron? Yes, I'll do that. Should she be played also by Elsa Lanchester? Why not? Sure. Go ahead. Should I have Una O'Connor run around screaming most of the movie? Let's do it.
Should I have a questionable gay doctor? Yes.
Absolutely.
I thought Dracula by Bela Lugosi should have been higher on the list as well.
Oh yeah.
Although personally, I think the Spanish version is
Yeah,
a
maybe the
better
Spanish
movie.
version should at least have been included in this list.
I think it's a better movie, but I don't know. Carlos Villarreal as Dracula is not as iconic or as great as Bela Lugosi. So that's what it's got against it.
And again, I'm questioning. I mean, if I rewatch, I probably like it better. But The Mummy with Boris Karloff is very, very slow. Like snail's pace, slow. In my opinion.
For me, that's why I didn't like the Blair Witch Project. I thought it was fucking boring as hell.
Yeah, I think it did deserve to be on this list, though, because of its importance.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
anything else?
So if we want to wrap up, I'll bring it to a conclusion. So, Variety, you've made an interesting list. Of course, us horror fans, we're gonna nitpick it.
Yeah.
We're gonna look at it and
did
say,
did we like the list though?
Yeah, it was all right.
I think it's interesting because there's a couple films that I still need to see on it. So I'm still gonna be watching, and maybe by the end of the month or whenever you're listening, hopefully this will come out on Halloween. I want to make my own top 100 favorite horror films list. So look out for that on my Letterboxd, and I'll tell Alex to link it down below. Links down below. So try to check that out, I guess. And happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. We went so early. This might as well be another episode. My God. Anyway, have a good night and stay safe.